It traveled silently for decades, half forgotten and half mythical. Through the darkness beyond planets, past our solar wind's last breath, and into a realm that no human eye had ever seen. It was never intended for Voyager to a frail aged spacecraft launched at a time when computers occupied entire rooms and disco ruled the planet to last this long. Despite this, it is still out there whispering secrets from the edge of existence. Almost 50 years later, NASA, on the other hand, recently received a transmission that was so precise, so unexpected, and so deeply unsettling that it caused scientists to question the design of our cosmic neighborhood itself. Because Voyager 2 didn't just cross into deep space, discovered something hiding in plain sight, a boundary sharper than a blade, a silence that wasn't quite silent, and a pattern. In the chaos that no one had dared to expect, what finally emerged from Voyager 2 that no one has been paying attention to? And why does it alter everything we believe to be true regarding our position in the universe? Its final message conceals the answers, and what lies behind it is significantly more active, structured, and dangerous than we were ever prepared. To accept the journey of Voyager 2 has always been one of endurance rather than discovery. The spacecraft, which was launched in 1977 and had a lifespan of 5 years, was not intended to survive long enough to see the outer planets or even reach interstellar space. It continued, though, through radiation storms, cosmic dust, and the icy nothingness beyond Neptune. Additionally, in 2018, an extraordinary event occurred. Its instruments did not, contrary to what scientists had anticipated, record a slight decrease in solar influence as it approached the theoretical edge of the solar system. Instead, the data changed dramatically, as if the spacecraft had entered a different climate by passing through a cosmic barrier. Plasma densities skyrocketed, magnetic fields abruptly aligned, and cosmic radiation surged by 70%. It was a moment of revelation. Voyager 2 had just crossed a hard line that had previously been thought to be a hazy transition between solar and interstellar space. The heliosphere, the edge of the solar system, was portrayed in textbooks for decades as a hazy region where the solar wind gradually weakens and combines with the interstellar medium. However, Voyager 2 proved the contrary. According to the data, the heliosphere behaves more like a cocoon, pulsing, flexing, and acting like a living organism in response to the sun's activity. During solar maximums, it expands, pushing the galactic environment away. During minimums, it contracts, exposing our system to more radiation. This dynamic behavior meant the boundary wasn't static, it had life. Additionally, Voyager 2, which approached from a slightly different vantage point than Voyager 1, discovered that it crossed this frontier at a different distance, 121 AU. Rather than 119 astronomical units, this discrepancy wasn't random. It revealed the boundary breathes, flexes, adapts, and that changes everything. Because it means the protective bubble that shields Earth from the galaxy's violent radiation isn't permanent. It is shrinking and fragile. However, the most perplexing discovery was not caused by plasma or radiation. It came from magnetism. As Voyager 2's instruments stabilized in interstellar space, scientists noticed something chilling. The sun's magnetic field was nearly perfectly aligned with the interstellar magnetic field outside the heliosphere. That kind of alignment was never supposed to happen. Prevailing models predicted a chaotic interaction, a messy blend of forces clashing at awkward angles. But instead, it was clean, seamless, as if both magnetic fields had been shaped to meet. This raised haunting possibilities. Was this area of space naturally organized in this way? Was the sun able to perfectly penetrate the galaxy? Or, more disturbingly, was this alignment intentional? Theories erupted. Could this specific interaction zone serve as a filter for the galaxy? Or worse, could it be monitored by forces we can't yet understand? Voyager 2's data didn't confirm answers. but it asked terrifying questions. Then came the blackout. Voyager, the longest-running working spacecraft in human history, abruptly stopped communicating in 2019. No warning, no error code, just silence. As the probe went dark, more than 11 billion miles away and inaccessible in real time, NASA engineers watched helplessly. It appeared to have been restored without human intervention hours later. The cause, officially unexplained. NASA attributed it to aging hardware. But buried in the telemetry were strange electromagnetic spikes, anomalies that didn't quite match known patterns. They might have been the result of a brief cosmic ray burst, or perhaps they were something else, something triggered by crossing that threshold. Even in closed-door conferences, whispers have been heard about the timing, alignment, and precision of Voyager 2's discoveries, despite the fact that mainstream scientists deny the existence of interstellar watchers. Because what Voyager 2 detected wasn't just the edge of our sun's reach, it was the start of something else. Just weeks after Voyager 2 crossed the heliopause, the probe began receiving low-frequency fluctuations in the plasma around its oscillations. That pulsed at regular intervals. This wasn't solar wind. It wasn't cosmic radiation. These pulses were excessively steady and yet oddly erratic. Researchers expected turbulence in deep space, but instead, they found consistency. A pulse every 13.2 hours, unchanging for weeks. Months. A signal with no known origin and no logical purpose. Worst of all, it wasn't directly affecting Voyager's instruments. Rather, its communication lag subtly changed, being dragged as if the space medium itself was changing, as if something enormous was breathing, compressing and relaxing the void's fabric just beyond our sensors. The sound produced from the data resembled a heartbeat, organic, not mechanical or artificial. It appeared as though Voyager had entered another world after leaving the solar system. The plasma wave instrument on Voyager 2 began detecting what appeared to be random bursts of activity as the pulse continued, energy peaks and troughs that came and went quickly. But when mapped over time, the data revealed a pattern, a recursive wave, almost like a spiral increasing in amplitude at precise intervals. Not only was this odd, but it was also planned. Fibonacci sequences, the mathematical ratio that governs everything from galaxies to seashells, were mirrored in the periodicity. Embedded intelligence was whispered about by other scientists who were perplexed. Was the plasma transmitting, or just reacting to the probe's presence? A growing minority began to refer to the phenomenon as a response field rather than an environmental anomaly. Voyager was eliciting a response from something, which intensified as it moved farther away. What began as noise was starting to look like language. The numbers reversed themselves when Voyager 2 sent back its most distant magnetometer reading to date. The field turned, not weakened. Space itself was folding in ways that defied Newtonian expectation. It was almost as if the probe had traversed a zone in which energy and time shifted around it, a lensing effect that lacked mass to explain. A radical concept emerged as engineers and astrophysicists mulled over their options. Maybe the heliopause wasn't a wall. It could have been a one-way directional window or filter that let signals out, but blocked anything coming back. If true, this would mean our solar system isn't just a bubble. Voyager 2 just punched a hole through the shield, which may have been constructed with care. It's possible that someone on the other side noticed that the unthinkable happened next. Voyager 2 began transmitting telemetry logs that hadn't been recorded, data from dates years earlier. Encoded in formats it was never programmed to use, it appeared as though the already constrained internal memory was rewriting itself, accessing long-considered dead subsystems. NASA confirmed that no order to reactivate these was issued. However, defunct processors lit up suddenly, gyroscopes that were in line with the constellations that Voyager was no longer in. Probe equipped with technology from the 1970s began, carrying out tasks far beyond its initial capabilities. The data went beyond technicalities, incoherent images, flickers, star patterns, and what appeared to be movement that was not from Voyager but from the area around it. Were all visible dot shadows and blurred shapes, as if the spacecraft were recording echoes from someone else. Rather than from now, was Voyager recording in real time, or was memory stored in space itself? What if the void was archived rather than empty? Voyager 2 was never meant to find meaning. It was a scout, a sentinel, a whisper launched into the dark in the hope that silence wouldn't be eternal. But as it crossed the final breath of our solar system, what it showed us wasn't just data dot, it was a lie, negation of randomness, denial of isolation, denial of everything we assumed deep space would be. What Voyager 2 discovered isn't merely physical, it's philosophical in nature. A wall that breathes, a field that pulses, a boundary that behaves. The structure in the plasma, the pulse in, the silence, the spiral in the void. None of these things should exist, and yet they do. So what are we left with? Not a spacecraft, not a relic, but a mirror, a machine drifting into the unknown, only to find it's being observed, measured, met halfway. The thing we ignored wasn't in space. It was in us. The arrogance that assumed the stars were indifferent. That thought. Silence meant nothingness. Voyager 2 didn't find the edge, it found the invitation. What's beyond it then? Possibly not a response, but a witness. Something is following us, keeping track of our reach, evaluating the precision of our equipment, and assessing our curiosity for its own sake. We missed the voice that was already speaking in a language of energy, magnetism, and time because we were so focused on finding a voice that sounded like ours. If this shook your idea of reality, if the patterns felt too perfect, signals too synchronized, the discoveries too scripted to be coincidence, then it's time to pay attention. Subscribe to this channel. We're not just reporting data, we're documenting a conversation that just began. The next whisper from Voyager could be the loudest sound humanity has ever heard. So ring the bell. Share this with someone who still thinks. The void is empty. Comment below. Do you think Voyager was merely reporting what it saw, or was it being shown something?